This pertains primarily to the PSLV, but also to silver and primarily the card game and scams that go on out there. And I'm not saying that PSLV is not a good fund to hold. I think it's going to work well. Now, obviously, if I knew the thing was going to drop 10% at this time, other people must have known, I would have sold and rebought. But obviously, that's what insiders did. I want to point to this article, and I missed this, September 21st, and I'm going to watch this a lot more carefully because when it dumped this fund, but it's not going to be right away. Just to give you a hint, and we'll cut right to the chase, so whenever that premium goes up to the net asset value to some record level again, and the price of silver is moving up, that's the time to dump it. What I think, what happened, well, obviously, I'll get into what this article is from September 21st, 2001 by Todd Johnson. I'll post a link. If you're paying attention, you should have dumped PSLV at this time, and you've been way ahead. Talks about Sprott Asset Management. Sam made money by selling PSLV at 20% premium to net asset value. Sprott Asset Management then bought physical silver and precious metals producing equities, stocks, and mining companies, which he's pushing for right now. Todd's sell recommendation was issued on July 24, 2011. Was to sell Sprott Physical Silver Trust, which was trading at a 22% premium to net asset value. Sprott's SEC 20-F filing shows that funds lacked anything worthy of a 22% premium to net asset value. But I do want to add something here. It's still a hell of a lot better than SLV, and a lot of investors are going to pick up on that. But what they're going to pick up on eventually is that the physical silver is even better. But you're probably going to see a harder move upward in the Sprott Physical Silver Trust. But he's playing, Sprott is very smart. He's playing the silver market left and right. And I do want to add something in here because even the physical silver advocates, I don't disagree with that. And I don't think it's going to go up 50%, 100%, 200%. It's going to go up multiple times. I don't know how many multiple times, but when people are telling me silver is going to be worth as much as gold, beware. I'd be watching. I'd be careful of anything that comes, because that's an advocate that's probably pushing a bubble. And if you're on the wrong side of that bubble, you're going to be screwed. And I think anybody that waits around for silver being more than gold in price due to fundamentals and industrial demand, you know what? I've said it, but I have a small channel, so I said it. I'm not going to tell it to everybody in the world anyway. Not enough people are hearing it, so it ain't going to make a difference. But this is an article by, I don't know who this guy is, Kid Dynamite, posted January 19, 2012. And this is one reason I kind of think trading is probably a smart thing, because obviously I know people can make money in poker, and I don't know why you can't make money on the markets. I've made some money on it, I know that, but I want to make more. But there's an old expression in poker: don't tap the glass. When people are doing stupid things, you don't lecture them at the table and educate them. You don't disturb the fish. You let them be fish, and you take their money. This applies to trading too. He's talking, his former trading desk would occasionally get calls from brokers who were spouting nonsense, and I'd be to explain something to them, but my boss would cut me off. Just hang up the phone. Don't tell them how to do it. So beware of information you're getting, because there's too much on what, I know the major media is a bunch of crap, but well, they're not total. They're not total. You still get hints as to what's going to happen. Now, it should be clear to readers that I've not taken this approach on the silver market. He says, I've tried my hardest to re-educate all those who are fed a constant diet of horseshit from pumpers all over the web. who repeat the same nonsense on 20 different blogs as if repetition creates reality or fact. And I'm not knocking silver because I think silver's going to go up a hell of a lot, but I can tell you there are other asset classes out there that people can't do without, and right now those asset classes are way down. Now, you do need everybody pumping up silver, and they're doing people that hold silver a great favor, so I'm not going to knock it. But what I'm saying is, you don't want to be on the other side of the bubble, because these people are pumping up astronomical values of what this metal's going to go to, and thousands of dollars an ounce without inflation, forget about it. Don't try to hold for that long. I'm telling you, I'm not. But this is going back to the PSLV. Eric Sprott is the king of the silver market. He's a master at work. Some people think, according to this guy, it is a hard-on for Sprott. On the contrary, the way in which he played the silver fanatics like a fiddle to line his own pockets, and he underscores that, should be a case study in marketing for profit. It's very true. This is the reality behind it. And you got people like, I'm going to tell you, Sprott versus J.P. Morgan or whatever. I mean, they're really all out to make money. And Max Kaiser's got his own little spiel too. He calls Sprott a silver vigilante. We all know what the game is. Everybody's trying to make money. PSLV is, he talks about his, well, he's going on here. He says what he doesn't tolerate is people drawing idiotic, blatantly false conclusions from data points like PSLV is trading at 30% premium to net asset value. That must represent the real price of physical silver. And I know it doesn't. It's because people feel safer in the PSLV, so they're buying it at that, and that's what it's trading at. Now, I think the PSLV is going to have a huge premium, higher than its 30% or whatever the hell it was at, and that's when I want to dump it, when the sentiment's very high. Silver goes up to $60 an ounce this year. PSLV is gone. It's probably going to be more than double. It's gone. So it's almost like working like with leverage, but not as unsafe in a way. But it is a gamble on this premium, and obviously if you dumped this stuff about a week ago, you'd be ahead of the game in buying it back, and that's what the insiders did. So he goes on and says, so anyway, I think that Sprott might have pulled this off, succeeded in doing a secondary crushing premium in his fund, and still somehow not alienating the shareholders. A short squeeze drives price to premium from 17% up to 35%. Then he priced in the offering at 13% premium to net asset value. It seems cheap. He's actually paying more for the silver. Additionally, despite the fact that anybody who has any idea how financial markets work knew that Sprott was never going to do a $1.5 billion lump sum secondary offering. Obviously, I knew that too, but I don't know how he's going to do that. The silver minions will read that the $300 million offering has had to do with he had to do a smaller offering because he couldn't get the silver to do a bigger one. That's BS. I agree with this guy 110%, and it's good. But he's buying a PSLV and he's shorting the SLVs just to cut to the chase, and it's probably a smart thing to do. He says that's nonsense. That's Sprott wouldn't be able to get that silver. Doesn't matter. People believe it. He couldn't find the investors to do a bigger one. That's the truth. But hey, the truth doesn't matter in the silver market. And this guy's come to that realization. And that's the whole thing. The whole thing. Even when you're buying physical silver, it's speculation and it's going to go up a lot more than it's actually worth. But the people that are pushing physical silver are going to push it to the hills because they want the maximum price. But you don't know when they're selling. You don't know when they're selling. They may or may not tell you. Now, obviously, this silver vigilante Sprott never made any announcements when he sold back in the end of April and back during August, September. He never said anything. You know, it's like there was some trickle of news coming out, but before that big slam down, not only did the spot price of silver go down, but a lot of the premium on the Sprott fund went down. So it's like almost like playing leverage a little bit, slight amount of leverage. So it's you know, it's better than the SLV. But I know what I'm doing. I'm dumping this thing when silver's around $60 an ounce. Sprott, he spent all year selling PSLV shares that his fund owned in huge premium and reinvested at zero premium silver exposure, and now he's will try to do it again, only this time he's starting with 13% premium as a bogey on his golf game, you know. So he didn't get the 0% premium, but that's when he's getting back in there. The premium falls because as more shares are issued, you need an increasingly larger pool of investors who are willing to pay a premium. The more shares you issue, the more investors willing to pay the premium you have to find. So PSLV is not as good as physical, obviously. But you might see this premium go up to some 50%, you know, when silver's at $60 an ounce spot price. And that's when you need to dump it. Now the trick is going to be figuring out exactly where to dump it, but I'm not going to dump it now, obviously, after it went down. And he goes on, you know what? I think that Sprott's marketing genius and the miseducational power of the silver blog mafia, he calls them a mafia, is a tremendously powerful force, and I think they will be able to convince more people to pay the premium. Now, I do think that PSLV is better than SLV, and if somebody can actually find out how much actual physical silver is backing SLV, I'd imagine the premium is hundreds of percent on the actual net asset value that's in that fund. So, and that is one reason you're probably going to see a lot more people flock into the PSLV, and he will find the investors, and the premium's going to go higher. And also, things take a life of their own. Silver's going to take a life of its own. It's going to go into an extreme bull market this year. It's not going to go down. It's not going to stay flat. Silver's going to go into an extreme bull market this year. And that is a good time to dump this electronic stuff. Because I really don't, you're better off the physical. But, if you're going to make a gain and sell off something, the PSLV is the one to mess around with. Or the AGQ for very short term. Or the AGQ. But that's only on severe dips. I wouldn't be playing AGQ unless I see some very hard pullback. If it goes way down for $2 or $3 down, maybe to 27, I would buy AGQ right now. But with the intention of dumping it. I bought some PSLV. If the stupid thing goes up, whatever portion I bought, it goes up 10%. It might be there in a month for all I know. I'll dump it. I'll dump that portion of it. Keep the main part of it and dump it when silver goes to $60 an ounce this year, which it probably might go far beyond the 60. I know that's music to people's ears that own silver, but I think it is. I think it's going to have an extremely good year this year. And then the next year after that, maybe 2013, is going to be the year that you're going to see multiple times silver going up. But if you're holding it way too long, because some of these people are telling you it's not up to the price of gold, or it's not half the price of gold yet, or something, or 1/5 the price of gold, you're going to be screwing up. I'll guarantee it. There's a lot more silver out there than you think. A lot more. And this market's going to come crashing down very hard when it does. I mean, it's not going to go down to $30 an ounce. It'll probably crash from, I don't know, $600 an ounce at $200 or something. I'm just making up a number, but it's going to be a hard crash. It's going to be a hard crash. So if you're on the wrong side, you're going to be out of it. You're going to be out of it. And I didn't realize that some people are pushing this stuff a little bit too much. Um, he goes on to say, no matter how many times you explain something, no matter how positively correct you are, no matter how logical or reality-based your explanations are, it won't matter. He calls them the silver blog mafia. I don't think that's really true. Can miseducate new investors much faster than old ones get educated. So I'm going with the old axiom: if you can't beat them, join them. In other words, the trend is your friend. So silver's going to actually take a life of its own and go into an extreme bubble. But the same people will be pushing silver right now, which it's definitely going up, and it needs to go up fundamentally. It is way underpriced where it is right now. When it's really high, these same people are going to be saying it's still going up. It's going to be just like the real estate market. Oh, it can't crash that much. Silver, when it goes down from its very high bubble, is going to crash harder than the real estate market. Worst. And you don't want to be on that side of the trade at all. But I found this pretty interesting about the PSLV. Sprott is very smart at making money. He's out for number one. And you know what? They're all out for number one, right? Every single one of them. And I think that this premium should be watched very carefully. And what he was doing here, what it looks like what was being done, was the premium was being pushed up and to get ready for them to buy more to add to the fund. And there were obviously some insiders probably dumping that fund back on Friday. So it's kind of a roulette game. This is the paper game. But I'm going to tell you, even the physical is the paper game, because you're looking to trade it for currency that is used to buy real assets, and at one point in time that bubble will break. And just beware of what these astronomical prices. I'd say silver at I'd probably dump some at 200. I'm pretty much very bullish on silver, some at 200. I think it's going to 500 or more, probably to 700 maybe. So that's where I think it's going to go to. But I'm very bullish on silver too. Most people that aren't into silver, if you even heard $200 an ounce, they think it's crazy, totally crazy. But I don't think so, because I think this year it's probably going to go to $60, $70 an ounce. And in that last year that it has a blow off top, it's going to do about 6 times the price easily in a year. So if you figure from $60, it would be $360. But I think the circumstances now are so much more skewed in all the financial markets and all the debt crisis that's going on throughout the world, that it's probably going to be even a lot higher than that. But since I can never guess an exact top or bottom, you should secure gains in pieces. That's a word to the wise. You should secure gains in pieces. And don't be afraid to take, if silver goes to $200 an ounce, don't be afraid to sell some of it.